All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Neuro Fundamentals, where today we're going to be looking at flexion, literally improving our body's ability to do this. So we're going to be looking at anything that involves the musculature, mostly running down the front of our body, just to try and improve some strength there. That's going to have a lot of benefits, especially for people who are interested in a lot of core stability work and things like that. Also can be quite good for your posture. So even though a lot of the time we think of posture as needing to stand up straight, the back of the body will only ever straighten us as much as it feels like the front of the body can brace. So if I stand up nice and strong like this and my body doesn't think it could brace itself from any kind of force that tries to push me further back, that's going to put me in a very vulnerable position. So actually improving my ability to maintain flexion actually improves my ability to stand up straighter as well. So is one of the reasons why you'll see gymnasts train this a lot, because they take huge forces through their spine, and while they want to do that as straight as possible, it's the front that needs to do the most bracing, not the back. So for today, before we get going, there's a few tests that I would like you to do. Basically, any kind of flexion test will do. And if you're not sure what that entails, I'll go through just a couple that you might want to have a look at. So we'll go through kind of the easiest ones first. Number one, we're just going to have a look at your shoulder flexion above your head. Okay, so we're going to warm this up a couple times. Just lift your arm right above your head. Try to keep your chest nice and neutral the whole time, so you're not doing a bit of back bend as you go, and you just see how much range can you get, how comfortable does it feel. We're going to try the exact same thing now with our knees. Okay, so you're going to lift up onto one knee. Normally you want to balance here for a little bit, and this is just going to test your knee flexion on this side. Okay, so knee flexion on this side is going to test your extension on the other side. But we just want to see how high can you go. I'm getting a pretty flat 90 here. 90 isn't necessarily ideal. If I could get it a lot higher, that would be quite nice. So in fact, this one goes a little over 90. So that's what the left side's going to want to strive for a little bit later. Finally, obviously, we can have a look at our toe touch. So normally I ask people to bring feet together for this one and just reach down. Oh dear. That is not so fun for me today. Interestingly, feeling a lot of tension, I guess, in my right hip, which is unusual because most of the time, most of my issues are down my entire left side. So we'll see if we can work on that. And then a final muscle strength test that you might want to have a look at as well is to just see how well you can perform a sit-up. So I'm just going to see, hopefully everybody can see. But you're going to lie yourself down on the ground. You're going to bring your feet up flat on the floor. They don't have to be all the way into your bum. You can let them lean out just a little bit, unless you're super hardcore. You're going to bring your arms across your chest. You're going to do the first little quarter of the sit-up. So you're going to try to tuck your chin in. You're going to flex in your upper chest. And first of all, just hang out there and see what happens. So I don't know if you can see what's happening to me, but I'm starting to shake just a little bit. That is not a good thing at all. And so once you got that as an assessment, now you're going to try and go the whole way. So we're going to do the first little third, and we're going to try and sit up. We're just going to see how easy did that feel. So if that was even possible, that's something that you can go back and check from time to time. The final thing for anyone who's been working more on our flexibility programs, especially a little more controversial, but one of the things that you can check is your back extension. So you can bring your arms across your shoulders. You bring feet either hip width apart or completely together. Again, I always like to put them together just because I know that way I'm doing it the same way every time. Totally up to you if you have a specific way that you do this or not. And we're just going to lean straight back. So you're going to keep your head in neutral. You're going to arch in your spine, feeling really brave. You can lift your head right up. Obviously, there's some of us I know that are training more contortion-based things. So if you really want, you can go and reach back and go for your full back bend, maybe even using a wall if you feel like you're a bit more. Sorry, just had a look. I felt that was applause. It's raining. What am I talking about? The wall. So we're going to go arms up and see how far back on the wall can you touch and still be able to recover back up. And remember, that's really what we're testing here. It's not how flexible is your back and how far you could get pulled into that position. It's how far is your brain willing to let your body go because it knows it's got the strength to bring you back to center. Okay, so any of those tests are ones you can use. If you have other tests, you know, if you're trying splits on one side, kind of straddle pancakes, that kind of thing, by all means, you can try those out as well. But we're going to come back to a couple of these every couple of exercises just to see, are we actually seeing any improvements in our flexion or not? All right, so to begin with, as always, we want to start with breathing. We want to make sure our brain is nicely fueled up, but we also want to look at some breathing exercises that can be helpful for working with flexion, okay? Now, typically, when we're thinking about flexion, we're thinking about exhaling, okay? So anytime that you're breathing out, especially if you're consciously breathing out, normally your brain works on filling up your lungs and then just kind of switching off and relaxing and letting the air shoot out. If you're forcefully, consciously trying to exhale, that is a pretty flexion heavy exercise. Lost my words there, I apologize. So that's going to involve a lot of flexion. That's where you're going to feel the abdominals kind of tensing up. You may even feel some work going on in your neck, maybe down in around your kind of glutes and hip flexors. Basically, these muscles at the front are going to contract. That is going to pull the diaphragm up, and that is going to help to expel all the air. So the first thing that we're going to do is just go through that really long exhale. And what I'd like you to do is the entire length of an exhale, you're going to move into one of these positions. So it could be your shoulder flexion, it could be your toe touch, it could be your knee lifting, whatever it is that you want to do. We're going to try a long exhale while slowly moving into this position at the same time, okay? So my toe touch felt pretty awful for this, so I'm going to go testing that one. And you're going to take a nice deep breath in, and then for as long as you can, anywhere up to 30 seconds or more, we're going to exhale, exhale, exhale. So 3, 2, 1. Once you're all the way down, feel free to inhale again. Now, for some of you, you might find that that is already getting you a little bit further. Some of you may find that actually you just start to cramp up, actually asking the flexor muscles and the exhalation to work together is too much for you. If that is the case, if you're one of those people, I would absolutely recommend that you be doing this exercise more often, okay? So anytime you're breathing out, actually, it's a very good chance that you might be doing one of these movements at the same time. You really don't want your muscles to feel like they're overworked by doing a standard movement that you might be doing every day and breathing at the same time, okay? And most people, if you've been to something like a handstand class or any kind of strength class, that is one of the big things that they always hear is someone says, don't forget to breathe. Your brain is worried that if you're using a lot of flexion to improve your core stability, and then you start breathing at the same time, on that out breath, your muscles are going to be overworked. So we're going to try 2 more times. Feel free to change the exercise, try something else. You might want to try your back bend if that's something you want to improve. But we're going to do the exercise again. So it's a nice deep breath in, and then the same thing. We're going to do a nice long exhale in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, I made mine a little quicker. Keep going if you're still going. If you couldn't go that long, remember your movement is going to be a bit quicker as well. You want to be matching this movement. You want to be matching the motion up with the length that you can exhale and just kind of pairing those up. We'll do it one more time. So again, I'll just do my same exercise. Feel free to try one of the other exercises if you like. It's going to be a nice deep breath in and then an exhale. Cool. Okay, so we will have a few more breathing exercises a little later, especially ones that are to do with inhalation, because there are some that can actually improve our flexion. But for now, that is our breathing exercise out of the way. So the next thing that we're going to look at when we're thinking about improving flexion is what's going on around our neck. So as a general rule, in the body, where our eyes go and where our head goes, our body wants to go as well, okay? So if we want to be at improving our flexion, our head wants to go down, okay? Whichever way our head's gonna go, our body is gonna try and do the same thing. That might seem pretty obvious. Obviously, every time I went to reach down to touch my toes, my head tucked in, it went down. If I was gonna extend on one side and flex on the other, my head's going to turn in that direction, or if my head turns the other direction, I'm going to get some flexion and bracing on down this side, and then the extensor muscles are going to open up the back. And if I look up, then all of the extensor muscles are going to fire down my back as well. So what we can try is just think about adding flexion to all of these movements in the neck and see, does it actually improve your ability to do the movement? So for the toe touch being the obvious choice, you're going to flex the head first, then you're going to reach down and see, can you get any further than you were before? And when we're flexing, we want to keep it flexed the whole time. So you may have the tendency to look and extend your head out as you reach to touch the floor. Just keep it tuck, tuck, tuck. Does that make it happen any better? A little more counterintuitively, what about shoulder flexion? Okay, so what if you were to tuck your chin in and then reach your arm over your head? Do you get more motion? Do you get more range when your head is tucked in? Okay, for me, I don't know if I'm getting any more. I'm certainly finding it feels a lot less restricted compared with reaching over, especially when I'm trying to be conscious of not flaring out in my ribs. You can also try the same thing. So I'm going to look, this was a nice flat 90. I'm going to try the same thing now, lifting that leg up. So tuck the chin first, and that is a clear improvement on the left. Bam. All right, and that's probably the biggest improvement I've had with my neck so far. So again, just like with all the other exercises, some of these will work better than others. So the ones that you're finding really hard, they're the ones you're going to want to practice. So for me, actually, this, even though I know it makes me much, much better at my knee flexion, it's not one to put in the, you need to get better at this box. It's one that maybe I might use if I want to bang out a split. And I know that actually my left leg struggles to get into that flexion, then maybe I want to get into that split with my chin tucked. But for practicing, for improving my ability to just navigate through life every day, I actually probably would want to go for the breathing exercise with the toe touch. Hope that makes sense. You can also try this again with the extension. So what would happen if instead of looking up, and you've probably seen a lot of people do this when they start trying to learn a back bend or something like that for the first time, they'll tuck their head right in, and then we see, does it feel any easier? Does it feel any more difficult? For some people, actually, it might become easier to go further back just because you've pre-braced this area and it's able to more comfortably bring you back up into a neutral position. Okay, so with our neck, we can start to increase the stimulus for this as well, okay? So if I want to improve my ability for flexion, I might want to add a bigger load to the neck. I tell the neck that it's doing a lot more work, then that might help with the rest of my body. So the reflex we're going to engage for this is called the vestibulocollic reflex. What you're going to do, you're going to take both your palms up to your forehead, and your head is now going to try and go back down into that flex position. Your palms are going to resist, okay? So your palms are going to stop that from happening. You're going to be pressing down hard, 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 hard. I'm going to do this for about 15, 20 seconds maybe. Just keep pressing, keep pressing, keep pressing as hard as you possibly can. Once we get to 20, that's, I don't know, it's probably about now. Relax and go and retest any of those positions. So for me, forward bend, much better. Knee flexion, actually not as good as the head tuck, but also improved. Shoulders. Shoulders, again, it's very difficult to say. It feels much nicer, but I'll have to watch this back. And then again, even the extensions. So see what happens. How does your extension feel? Does it feel easier? Does it feel more difficult? Or even your sit-ups. So back into that sit-up position. What did I do? I had arms over the chest, tuck the head, lift. Maybe a little easier, okay? So adding force improves the flexion response. What about adding movement? So again, we said if the head's going this way, the rest of the body's going to move this way. What if we added the maximum amount of movement stimulus through the neck? So through the cervical spine, the upper spine, your neck. We're going to try some neck flexion waves. And to do this, the first thing you're going to do is try and tuck your chin as high up as it can possibly go. So you're not bending forward in your neck, you're trying to rotate your head almost like you're trying to get, if you're a male, you're trying to get your chin to touch your Adam's apple. So it's trying to pull it. From there, it's going to do a nice little wave, sort of vertebrae by I'll try it again. Vertebrae by vertebrae, all the way down. Okay, so a little bit, if you've ever done yoga, they ask you to do that nice little roll down, and they say go one vertebrae at a time, all the way down to the bottom. You're going to do this just in your neck, okay? So it's that super high tuck position, and then your chin is going to try and slide down your chest as much as you can, okay? We're going to do that about 5 times and just see what kind of result does that give us, okay? So we go tuck, 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 slide down. Sorry, roll down and then slide down. So I hope that makes sense. It's tuck, you're rolling down vertebrae by vertebrae, very hard to talk in this position, until your chin touches the top of your chest. And then you're going to slide your chin all the way down, as far down your chest as you can go, and then reset. We're going to do just a couple more. Once you've done anywhere between 5 and 10, just shake your neck out, let it relax a little bit, and then again, retest. So again, find out, is this the exercise for you? Interestingly, what seems to be helping me bilaterally is hindering me unilaterally. So the things that are making me better with both halves of my body doing the same thing, it's actually hindering me when it's just one side. And that could very well be because when I'm stimulating this flexion, actually I'm stimulating it for the whole body. And when I'm doing these single leg exercises, that's not happening. It's only one side is going into flexion, the other side is going into extension. And if we were to analyze this a little bit further, which we're not going to today, we could find that the reason for that is that maybe the extension is the problem, okay? So maybe actually it's something along the back line of the right-hand side that is causing a problem lifting the left-hand side. We're going to look at a little balance exercise in a bit that might kind of highlight that, but as I said, I'm not going to try and explain it too much because I feel like I talk too much on these videos anyway. All right, so what did we just do? We looked at the flexion waves. So now let's see what happens if we combine. So we're going to make a massive neck stimulus now. We're going to combine the flexion waves with the vestibulocollate reflex, and we're going to see, does that give us an even bigger response, or does it overwhelm us too much and cause things to cramp up or cause us to be restricted? Okay, so to do this, it's the same neck flexion wave, but you're going to add this vestibulocollate stimulus at the same time. Okay, so you're going to tuck your chin, put resistance in with your hands. From there, you're going to roll down as much as you can vertebrae by vertebrae. You're going to struggle to make this one happen really as well. Once you get to the bottom, if you can do any sliding, still resisting, do some sliding. Again, it won't be as deep, and probably you may want to take some breaks in between goes on this one. So I'm going to go again. I'm going to tuck. I'm going to bend, roll down, and a little bit sliding. I can't manage too much. And we'll just try one more. So again, the higher the load, the higher the stimulus, probably the less reps we're going to have to do. If you find that this still makes you better, bear that in mind for a warm-up actually. Instead of doing 10 of one of the exercises, maybe you only need to do 2 or 3 of the 2 exercises combined. It's going to save you a lot of time, but actually that increase in stimulus is going to also help rewiring of the brain in that position as well. So that can be really useful too. So I can't remember if I did 3 anymore, so I'm going to try one more. And then again, try that, see what you, oh yeah, that one's got a little worse for me. So there, I know that actually on their own is good, or maybe it's the combined, maybe I'm just getting a bit more fatigued now as we're going through the session, but together that was not so great for me. I'll try with some of the others as well. Again, not really a huge difference. Maybe my right side is a little bit worse. So maybe I've exhausted all the possibilities for my neck. That is a shame because I'm going to take you through one more neck exercise that can be useful for flexion as well. Okay, so this exercise is another breathing exercise, but also another muscular exercise. Okay, so we've mostly been looking at just putting tension through the neck and moving the joint. Now we're going to try to isolate the muscles on one side specifically. Okay, so this is going to be for the sternocleidomastoid. You may have heard of it as the SCM, and it's kind of like a little curvy muscle, goes all the way down to your collarbone. And what it does, it helps turn your head, it helps nod your head. It also helps you breathe, especially when you're breathing in a panic. Okay, I've done this in a previous video, but just in case you missed it, I'm going to take you through it slowly because this one, if it cramps, it's really not so fun. Okay, so to do the SCM stimulus, I guess, your legs can do whatever you want. I don't know why I'm bringing them together. You're going to turn your head about 45 degrees. So I'm going to work on the right one. That means I'm turning my head to the left. I'm then going to add neck flexion. So I'm going to try to bend my head forwards, okay? And it's not forwards where I'm facing, it's forwards to my body, okay? So I hope you can see that. I'm looking to 45 degrees, but my head is going forwards this way, not this way. Now from there, just to practice this, we're going to start slowly inhaling, okay? Now, normally what the SEM does is it lifts the collarbone, and that is when you need a short, sharp, strong breath. Once we've added in this muscle contraction, though, there's a very good chance we're going to start to feel a little bit crampy, okay? So I'm going to recommend you're going to start slowly. We're going to do about 5 of these, and I want you to breathe a little faster each time, okay? So for the first one, it's turn, flex, breathe in, relax. Next time, you're going to breathe about twice that speed, okay? So I'm going to turn, I'm going to flex my head, and then if you're wondering about why I'm moving my chest, 1, I'm trying to exaggerate it a little bit so you can see what's going on. But number 2, given that the SEM is involved in lifting the collarbone, it is specifically involved in upper chest breathing. So if you've ever been taught, you only need to be breathing from your diaphragm, you want to train yourself to breathe from this lower abdominal region, that is good. It's good to be able to do that, but it's also not good if you're not able to breathe from the upper chest as well, because sometimes you're going to be in stressful situations where you're going to start to need to breathe more heavily through the chest. And if you've not practiced at that, your brain's going to forget how to do it, and that won't be so fun for you either. Okay, so we'll do a few more times. Hopefully you've been keeping going while I've been speaking, but we're going to go a little faster again. I'll just do one more time, super fast this time. Nice sharp, deep inhale. Okay, and if you're like me, I did this on my right side. My right side is much weaker than the left, so I'm already feeling a lot of strain there. Next thing we got to do is figure it out. Let's find out, has it had any effect on my flexion? Actually, even though I was training flexor muscles on the right side, my left side's got much, much better. Okay, so what does that say about the extension hypothesis? I don't know just yet, but we won't get into it. Let's try the same thing on the left. So you're going to turn to the right. You're going to flex your head forwards, and again, this can start slowly and you can build it up to fast. We'll do 2 more. So again, turn, flex, relax. Take as much time in between as you need, by the way, as well. So don't feel like you need to do 3 short, sharp goes all at once. And then we'll try again. So it's turn, flex. And once you've done that, let's try out. So retest everything. Okay, both sides actually a little better again. Well, not so good. Ugh. Much worse. Okay, so left side SEM, not good for me. Right side gets the positive stimulus. Now, normally, what I would say is, well, just like always, if it's making you worse, it shouldn't be. So you need to practice that. Also, given my right side was cramping, even though I'm seeing the positive stimulus, actually, I would consider that as making me a little worse as well, because I should be able to do all of these movements without pain. So hopefully that makes sense as well. It's not just about the range and the movement that you can do. It's also about being able to do them all comfortably and pain-free. Okay, so we're going to add finally a balance component to that. So for any of you that are already on our programs, you'll be familiar with this idea of a VOR. So the vestibular ocular reflex, where you're keeping your eyes fixed on a target and you are moving your head left and right. I'll just come a little closer so you can see what that looks like. I'm staring like a creep right into the target. Head moves left and right. Eyes stay fixed. And you can do that any direction. You can be up and down. You can go on diagonals. And if we wanted to train just the vestibular system, not the eyes, we could do all of those movements. Woohoo! Lost my balance there. That's not a good sign. I'm very tired today. All of those movements with your eyes closed as well. Okay, so you can get rid of the visual component. And for some of you, that'll be harder. Some of you, that'll be easier. You'll just have to test it and find out. But what we're going to try now is we're going to see, does adding a balance component help with the flexion? Okay, so again, this is firing for balance. We're going to need lots of extensor muscles firing, which means the flexor muscles are going to have to resist and kind of work equal and opposite to the flexors. And the SCM is a really great test because you get this little vestibular stimulus. If you move your head rather than turning and flexing, you can just go straight down in that direction. So diagonal and downwards, like you're drawing a diagonal line downwards with your nose, and then you can do the sharp inhale, and then you can try that a few times. So we're going to go 3 times on each side. It's going to be hit yourself onto your right foot. You're going to go straight down and then relax. Okay, so always reset in between. I did mine with my eyes closed just because I know that's better for me. If you want to do it eyes open, fix your eyes on a target, drop down in that diagonal. If you haven't started already, we're going to do round number 2. So eyes closed. Reset, or even if you're losing your balance, doesn't really matter. We're just trying to get a super quick input from all of these areas all at once. So we're going to try just one more time. And this also doesn't matter which foot you're on, okay? So you can be on either foot. It's still going to require extensor muscles to be working. So we'll go one more time. Okay, and once you've done that, you're going to retest. Okay, maybe a little better, feels much nicer. Again, these are just my results. So yeah, that's probably best so far for me. Again, you could be testing your extension and your sit-ups and all of that. We'll move it on to the left side. So same thing, you're going straight down. And I'm losing my balance straight away. Again, it's that conflict between extensor muscles and flexor muscles. When I start to really focus on the flexion, the extensor muscles lose a bit of the control. We're going to try 2 more times. Turn, and didn't even get there. So again, this is another good sign. This side of the body probably needs some practice. We'll see in the range. We'll see if it makes it worse, but definitely even just in the exercise. Oh, thought I was going to get it there. Maybe not. So retest again. All right, I'm not even going to test the other ones. That's pretty clear. Okay, so finally, we're going to go right the way up to a part of your body called the brainstem, a part of your brain called the brainstem that deals with posture. Okay, so if there's anything that can influence flexion really, really fast, it's your brainstem, because it deals with your muscle tone. So whenever your muscles are at rest, it decides how much flexion, how much tension. It decides should both sides be really tense, and so your whole body feels really tight and stiff because maybe you had too much to drink, or you were injured, or you're not in a good mood. So your brain doesn't want you moving around super fast. It could go the other way, and it makes you hypermobile, and actually everything moves much more than it should be able to. And that's probably not so good either. But the idea is these 2 things need to be regulating with each other, and we're going to look at them in 2 separate parts. So the first part is the midbrain. Okay, midbrain deals a lot with flexion, and it controls jaw and eye movements. So we're going to try, we'll just try an eye movement, because I feel like, just check how we're doing for time here. Yeah, we're just going to try the eye component of this. And there's 3 different directions we could be moving our eyes to see flexion improvements. If you found that the neck exercises worked really well for you, you're going to move your eyes straight down. Okay, so if the neck exercises and that straight line movement was really good for you, you're going to move your eyes straight down and see how that helps you. If you found the SCM exercise worked better, then your eyes are going to move in a diagonal line downwards away from the side that helped. Okay, so I found my left side I was bad at, my right side got me the more improvement. So just for fun, because I want to see the improvement, I'm going to try, so I know it's my right side, which means I'm going diagonally down to my left. Okay, so my eyes are going to go diagonally to the left. You could do it diagonally to the right, or you could be doing it straight down. And if you're not sure, as always, try more, okay? What we're gonna do is an exercise called shooting smooth pursuits. Okay, the way this goes, you're gonna hold your thumb of one hand directly at the height of the bridge of your nose, okay? So that's just gonna stay right there. Come a little closer so that you can see what's going on. So I got my thumb height of the bridge of my nose. The other thumb is gonna start overlapping, okay? So I got my thumbnail on my thumbnail. It's then going to draw all the way down in the direction I'm going, okay? So I'll just move my thumb out of the way so you can see what's going on with my eyes. I'm looking at the thumbnail. I'm drawing a line diagonally down to the left. Once I've gone as far as I can, I'm gonna close my eyes. I'm gonna get thumbnail onto my thumbnail. I'm gonna open my eyes and I'm gonna go down again, okay? So the idea is it should shoot continuously just down in that one direction, okay? You're never bouncing back up. Your eyes are only bouncing back up when they are closed, okay? So I'll try and do it fast. Let's see how quickly I can go. I'm gonna go. Okay, so that is the exercise. We're gonna try it standing. We're gonna do it about 10 times. Sometimes you need to do it a little longer. So normally I'd say 30 seconds. Just because of time, we're just going to try 10 in a row. Really try to be precise with that coordination. So it is, and again, you don't need feet together, but I just like to read it like this. So thumb at the height of the bridge of your nose. You're going down. Once you're all the way, close your eyes, reset, open your eyes, and straight down. Close your eyes and reset. Okay, on my thumb. Open your eyes and straight down. Keep going. Do be very precise with getting your thumb to touch and make sure your eyes are following your thumb, okay? Don't just make your eyes jump down to the bottom and wait for your thumb to get there. Once you've done that 10 times, 30 seconds, whatever it was we were doing, we're gonna reach there. All right, that's probably my best range. Didn't feel my best, but interesting. And definitely much more, especially on the left, okay? So while I'm talking, feel free to try some other positions or feel free to do some other tests. But that is your eyes. So your midbrain regulates a lot of flexor tone. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to move down to the bottom of the brainstem, an area called your medulla. Now, to stimulate your medulla, there's a few different things we can do, okay? I'll leave the most awkward one to last. Not everyone's going to want to do it, but first one, nice and easy. Flexion of the shoulders, okay? So you can do both. Again, if sagittal neck movement, if your neck moving in a straight line was what gave you the best result, or if the breathing, both sides gave you the best result, then you're going to want to do both shoulders at the same time. You're going to want to do both of all of these things at the same time. If it was one side, so if STM on one side, you're just going to do one side, okay? So for me, I'm going to do the right shoulder, and I'm going to see what happens there. Remember, like I said, right shoulder was most difficult for me. Left shoulder produced the worst response, so I probably could choose either one. I want to see the better range, so I'm going with the right shoulder, sorry. And so that's step one. Step number two is you're going to use your tongue, okay? So if you do well with sagittal movement, straight line movement down the middle, you're going to stick your tongue straight out, straight in front of you. And you're just going to try and hold it there, okay? Like I said, this one's going to look weird, bit awkward. Sorry, you can do this in a private place. So you're just going to hold your tongue straight out in the middle. You're trying to keep it straight in the middle. It's not down, it's straightforward, like you're trying to hit a button right in front of your face, okay? If you were better on one side, you're going to push your tongue into that side of your cheek, okay? So for me, right side, SCM was the best. I'm going to push my tongue into my right cheek. Final thing we're going to do is we're going to get some vagus nerve stimulation. And how we're going to do that is we're going to start humming, okay? So this is going to be a completely weird exercise. You're going to be lifting one or both shoulders. You're going to be sticking your tongue straight forwards or into one of your cheeks, and you're going to be humming at the same time, okay? And you're just going to keep holding that position, I would say, for 30 seconds. I don't know if we can all hum for 30 seconds, so we'll see how that goes. But we'll go for as long as we can possibly hum, and then we're going to retest, okay? So I'm going to bring my feet together because, as we've established, I'm weird. We're going to lift the shoulder, one or both shoulders, tongue into the side of the mouth, and hum. Not sure if Zoom's going to cut out the humming or not. I feel weird after that. So let's see, does that translate into some nice results for me? Absolutely. See the knee flexion. Maybe I can't tell if I just really wanted that or maybe. Yeah, okay. Since it's the last exercise, also going to try my extension. So I'll reach the seat. Definitely feels much easier. And also, let's not forget the sit-ups. So again, probably better if you're trying all of these throughout the whole session, but I'm just feeling lazy. It's the end of my evening, end of my working day. So let's see. Happy with all of them except the sit-up. It felt a little hard. So anyway, that is flexion. That is some of the things we can do to improve global flexion in the body. Hope you all found that interesting. Let me know if you got any comments, questions about that. But as I said, any of these that you found really difficult, any of them that tested worse, those are the ones you probably need to be better at. I would recommend practicing them, especially last thing at night before you go to bed. If you found ones improved you, made you better, you probably want to be adding those into a warm-up, or anytime you think of it throughout the day, that's probably going to be pretty good for you just in general. So take it, do it for the week. Next week, I'll give you a bunch of different stuff. If you can be doing these things over and over, you should find that even if you don't improve really well, you should see a slight improvement. And eventually, all of these exercises are going to come back up under a different theme. So, you'll find if you're still not good at them, you'll get to keep them ticking over if you're following all of these sessions. So anyway, that's enough for me. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all next week.